Welcome. I'd like to call to order the November 7, 2024 regular governing board meeting. It is now 5:05, and the board members present are Board Member Cantu, Board Member Hernandez, Board Member Garcia, myself, and then telephonically is Vice President Hernandez. If everyone would please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance by Cartwright Elementary Scholars.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to our Cartwright Scholars. So cute. Foreman too? All right. Introductions of representatives. We would like to welcome our CEA representative, Betsy Bryan, our Vice President. Our CEA representative, Cesar Coda, our ESP Director. And Parent Advisory Council representative, Aide Flores, also President. Welcome, y'all. On to our land acknowledgement. The Cartwright School District is located on the ancestral homelands of the Hohokam, Acoma, Otham Jewett people, ancestors of the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, or SRP-MIC. We acknowledge this rich oral history, culture of these communities and their ancestral ties to the land. On to the adoption of the agenda. I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda for the November 7, 2024 regular governing board meeting. Do I have a second?
Madam President, I second your motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by myself and a second by Board Member Garcia. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Board Member Cantu, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Board Member Hernandez, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board Member Garcia, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Board Member Vice President Hernandez, how do you vote?
Thank you, Madam President. I vote aye as well.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. On to item 6, Cartwright School District Award of Excellence to Joshua P. Hillis with Soul Sports, presented by Mr. Victor Rodriguez.
Good evening, Madam President, Deputy Superintendent Emma Jauregui, governing board members, executive team, and those in the audience and on YouTube. We are excited to share that the Award of Excellence goes to Joshua Hillis with Soul Sports. This award honors individuals who dedicate themselves to making a difference through education and work experiences in the community. Recently, Josh donated running shoes and socks, making a big difference for the athletes. He not only provided high-quality gear, but also he acted quickly to meet their needs, ensuring that the runners were ready before the season started. Josh took the time to share his expertise on shoe selection, which really greatly assists the athletes in performing better and staying healthy. His commitment to supporting athlete growth in the community is truly commendable. He went above and beyond to ensure all runners had the right running shoes and socks, all while sharing his passion for sports. So congratulations to Josh and Soul Sports on this well-deserved recognition.
I'd just like to thank everyone here for not only what you do, but impacting the lives of students. As a wise man once said to me, 1% of the athletes we develop will go on to pursue professionalism in that athleticism one way or another. 100% of them become adults. So I greatly appreciate all that you do, influencing the lives of our youth and helping them learn life lessons that's not taught from a book. And I thank you all very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask the board members and Deputy Superintendent Emma Jauregui if you can join us here. We're just going to take a quick picture. So if I can have you stand here. Ms. Garcia, if I can have you finish that one.
On to item 7, our AASA Perfect Score Scholars Celebration video, also presented by Mr. Victor Rodriguez.
Good evening again. At an special event at the training center, more than 30 scholars received the Award of Excellence. Dr. Aguilar Lawler, the executive team, principals, governing board president of ATIA, took part of this celebration and honoring the district's impressive achievement of having 100% on their AASA score. This success shows the dedication of both teachers and students, emphasizing on strong commitment to academic excellence. We produce a video and
My favorite part was when they called my name out and I went up there and I got my award and everybody saw how good I was. Some questions were hard, some other questions were easy, but this is one of my greatest achievements since I've been in school.
Seeing the culture that's around here, I was really surprised at how many people are actually scoring 100%, and so it really speaks a lot about the program you guys have, and it's just great to just have him around other people who are also excelling. This creates a good culture for him, and we're just really proud of him.
Math is my favorite subject and I love practicing it. So anytime I have the chance, I'll practice it. Work hard, try your best, and stay confident.
it was very nice to see Uriel there. I happened to be there last year, and then I think the year before. So this is actually the third year in a row that he gets 100%.
He actually has big shoes to fill. He's got a lot of brothers who have also passed that test, and so he's holding up that family legacy for sure. All right, on to item 8, celebration, AZ Ala Superintendent of the Year Award video, also presented by Mr. Victor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. On Monday, November 4th, Dr. Aguilar Lawler received the AZ Ala Superintendent of the Year Award during the annual conference of the Arizona Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents. The award ceremony was very special, where she was supported by her family, including her daughter Gabriela, her husband Ken, and friends, along with board members, principals, and other administrators. This is a special occasion honor Dr. Aguilar Lawler's commitment to education and leadership, marking an important achievement in her career. This was the video produced by AZ Alas. That's not it. You don't have. We can probably move on to the next one.
Yeah, well, let's we can re-show this. Let's move on to Estrella Middle School College M Career Prep Cafeteria Remodel video, also presented by Mr. Victor Rodriguez.
We have brand new furniture at Estrella Middle School College and Career Prep Cafeteria. We just want to thank you, Dr. Medrano, to the board members and everyone involved in making all of this happen. I was present when the scholars were walking into the cafeteria, and they were inquiring whether the furniture was permanent or if it was just there for a special occasion. So it really touched my heart. I mean, I grew up in South Central LA, and I never had any furniture like that. So it was very special to be there and be able to capture that moment. So we can direct your attention to the monitors to watch this video.
It feels more like a private school.
Oh, way better. Way better.
The reason I like it because I can sit with my friends and groups. I like them both because it's more like wedding, more private school. I would say like the tables, I guess, because it matches like the school colors.
My reaction is just pride. Thank you to everyone who made this happen. I think our students feel that sometimes they're not worthy or they don't deserve nice things, and this just proves to them that they are. And it was just so amazing to see their excitement, and once it sunk in that this is for real and this is permanent, their excitement and their happiness just it makes it all worth it.
I think the video is ready for AC Alas honoring Dr. Aguilar Lawler.
It is exciting to celebrate Dr. Aguilar Lawler, who under her leadership embraced her vision of one team, una familia. She renewed our focus on working together as one, no matter our individual roles. This simple yet powerful message reflects our values of unity, collaboration, and a shared purpose to create brighter futures for every child in our school district.
Being on multiple school boards and serving with several superintendents, when times get tough, such as the COVID pandemic, you really start to see the leadership in superintendents, and Dr. Lawler was an example of true leadership.
She's a servant leader. She serves people. She serves students. She serves teachers, parents, the community. She has a vision that every student in the Cartwright School District will succeed and be successful in life, and she is relentless in her pursuit of making that happen.
Well, she's extremely connected with our community, our students, the parents. She puts a lot of time into getting to know our parents. She spends time with our Parent Advisory Council, make sure that the kids are the focus of all of our attention, and providing services.
Dr. Aguilar Lawler has shown us that she is not only here to lead, but also to listen. She understands the importance of hearing the voices of teachers, educational support professionals, students, and families.
What's truly amazing for me when I think about Dr. Lawler is that in the history of Cartwright School District, which spans over 126 years, she is the first woman to be the superintendent of Cartwright School District.
Dr. Lawler definitely deserves this award for her dedication, not just to Cartwright, but to the Maryville community. Every event that we have, every time that we have our scholars at our district to represent them and congratulate them for their hard work, Dr. Lawler is right at the front of that. And not only that, but behind the scenes, she's working continuously with our principals, with all of our executive team, with the board, with with the families to ensure that our district is thriving.
So congratulations. It is an honor to serve as your team member for these past years.
Congratulations, Dr. Leanne Aguilar-Luller, on the award from AZ Ala Superintendent of the Year. Thank you for always prioritizing our students, their safety, their education, and our entire community in Maryville.
Thank you. All right, on to item D, call to the public. Outside of these two, do we have any other? Oh, okay. So we do have two calls to the public tonight. Consideration and possible discussion of comments and complaints from the public. The governing board will not take any legal action on matters raised during this portion of the meeting unless the comments and complaints pertain to items included on the agenda. The governing board president will set applicable time limits based on the number of public comments received. Up to 3-minute time limit is set and all are asked to adhere to this limit. The governing board may direct staff to study matters raised by the public or to reschedule those matters for future consideration, discussion, and possible action at a later date. All right, so our first call to the public is going to be Teresa Womack.
Good evening, Board President Abetia. Dr. Lawler isn't here, and members of the governing board. My name is Teresa Womack, and as a former Cartwright student, employee, and voting member of the community, I wanted to speak tonight regarding the behavior and unprofessionalism of some of the board members. I've went back and watched board meetings since Board President Abetia has been voted into the position, and this is what I have noticed. On 3/25/24, before the meeting started, which was at 5:03, both board member Lydia Hernandez and Rosa Cantu left the meeting. On 4/29/24, 26 minutes into the meeting, Rosa Cantu left, and at 38 minutes, Lydia Hernandez leaves. On 5/9, Lydia Hernandez left the meeting after an hour and 25 minutes. On both 6/6 and 6/27, neither Lydia Hernandez or Rosa Cantu showed up or phoned in. On 8/8, Ms. Cantu did call in. On 9/12, Cantu left during an executive session at 7:49. On 10/3, Lydia Hernandez did not show up, and Cantu left executive session at 7:33. And then at the most recent meeting on 10/17, both Rosa Cantu and Lydia Hernandez left at 6:15. It is apparent to myself and others that are watching here in person and online that both Lydia Hernandez and Rosa Cantu do not get their way. They protest and leave the meeting. This is extremely unprofessional of a board. I work on a PLC, and one thing that is always talked about with the PLC is regardless of how you feel about things, you show a united front even when your outcomes isn't the outcome that was voted on by a group. That's not happening, and it's a disgrace to the district. I'm aware that the dynamics of this board will be changing due to the recent election, which I do not agree with some of the members who are being voted in due to conflicts of interest on the board. However, I do hope for the sake of Cartwright and their scholars that the members that remain on the board learn how to act like professionals and learn how to work as a PLC among each other and the executive team, including the current and future superintendent. Remember, you are one team, una familia.
Thank you.
Madam President, Dr. Emma Harigi, executive team, not doctor, sorry, I'm used to saying doctor, but executive team, those in the audience and those watching. For clarification, we're able to address when there are comments made, erroneous comments made about board members. So I will do so now. There's been, and I apologize wholeheartedly apologize for the behavior that has been exhibited by board members. It's a team. But there is a lot of activity that has taken place, a lot of insults. I was cussed out at meetings. I've taken my share publicly, disrespectfully, like I've never attended a professional meeting before. This doesn't happen in other meetings in the real world. And if it does, something is extremely wrong and bad. I refuse to sit and remain to take the attacks, especially when they're personal. There's got to be a limit. There's got to be professionalism. We have so many workshops available to us that I've attended over the many years, and they are about decorum. It's about discussion. It's about input. It's about discussion in general. But we have a board that does not engage. There are meetings that have taken place that discussions are not had. This is the only place where we can vote, discuss, and act together. In the absence of that, I have to state that I refuse to take the insults and disrespect that I've had. I've had a young man that's presently here right now recording me chase me physically down the hallway with another 300-pound man. To what end would individuals want to chase somebody like me down, either to tell me off or tell me whatever's on their mind? I will take the dialogue, but not the physical attacks. And if I left early, it's because of that same reason that I, as a woman, feared for my security, which I brought up to the board, and I was refused the assistance or a police officer to be at the meeting by the current board president. So there's a lot more to the story that I would be glad to share if somebody'd ask me. I try not to elaborate, but since it was brought up, thank you so much for bringing that up. Thank you.
On to our second call to the public, Miss Cecilia Moreno.
Okay. Good afternoon, board members, principals, teachers, and hopefully parents. I know how hard it is to get parents to come. My name is Cecilia Moreno, and I'm a retired high school teacher and taught at Trevor Brown High School for 17 years. My children were students at Harris, Tomahawk when it was brand new, and Estrella Junior High School, and I'm glad to see that there's new furniture in there because it was in dire need. I've seen what was there before. I have lived to pay taxes. I've had a cold. I paid taxes and supported teachers, students, administrators in the Cartwright District for over 55 years. I noticed that it was 126 years, well, almost half. I have friends that were administrators and teachers in the district, so my concerns are not unwarranted. The current election of school board members is of major concern. If the election results are conclusive, there will be 2 board members that are related. If we have high standards and expectations for our students, teachers, and administrators, should we not have the same standards, transparency, and accountability of our board members? If I am correct, I believe that there will be a conflict of interest as well as nepotism. Legally, that could become an issue for the district. I will share with you that currently Phoenix Union is in a legal dispute because of nepotism. Employees that are being supervised or have hired relatives have created a huge financial legal suit for Phoenix Union. I suggest that before this becomes a major concern, that the election results be addressed by the Maricopa County School Board or the Arizona School Board Association before an audit is required and it becomes a legal and financial concern for the district of Cartwright. If nepotism, this is nepotism of some sort. If not illegal, it's certainly unethical. I recommend that one of the related board members step down. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Madam President.
Go ahead.
Emma Haregui, I'm not used to saying it. Executive team, those in the audience and those watching. Thank you for your concern. I'd like to address that, and we have the right to address this and call to the public. Otherwise, this is not something that typically takes place. Um, there is a process in place for when there is a member that's related, but is certainly allowed and is not illegal. So there is a conflict of interest form or a form that is signed before the Maricopa County Superintendent of Public Instruction Office, which was filled out, and the information was included in a letter. My daughter, Cassandra Hernandez, who does not live with me, by the way, she is off on her own. She's a young mother and is a recent student. She's young. She's here in the audience, by the way, Cassandra Hernandez. Welcome to the school, to the board meeting. But I appreciate your concern. It's been addressed, and if there's anybody that'd like to take it on legally, which is fine, I would not engage in anything, especially nepotism. I will bring to your attention if we are concerned about nepotism and employees hiring family members. Ms. Rosa Cantu, a school board member, did make an inquiry and requested public information that has not been provided to her related to members that are city members of the community and have hired their family members to work for the district. I'd be glad if there was an audit to be made that we
Board
do it all
member,
the way
board member
across the
Hernandez,
board.
board member
Thank
Hernandez,
you.
you do not need to
Thank you
lie
for
to
the
the district.
inquiry.
Board member Cantu got that information, and nobody has hired family here in the district. So, on to item E, consent agenda.
Madam President, for clarification, I did
No,
not receive the
we're
the
moving
report.
on. This is not on the agenda,
I
so
did
we're
not
moving
receive the
on.
report.
Well, that's your fault for not checking your emails. We are moving on. Adopted
Madam
rules of
President,
parliamentary
You
procedures
should
provide.
respect
We
the
are moving
voice.
on
We are
to
here
the
to be
agenda. This is not on
transparent.
the agenda.
We are
Thank
here
you.
to be transparent.
And we are
Madam
moving
President.
on. This is
Be
not on the
respectful
agenda.
to the voice of the board members.
We're going into a 5-minute recess.
An issue questioned, we have a right to respond to the community. But we do it's parliamentary procedure, Ms. President. We have a right to
Can you
respond
please cut
to
off the
attacks.
YouTube? We are going to a 5-minute recess. All right, we are convening back to our regular session here. It is now 5:39. We're moving on to item E, consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Items listed under the consent agenda have gone through a thorough review and recommendation process. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed as an action item for further discussion at the request of any board member with a majority vote. Ms. Emma Howdigi.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, executive team, and those here in the audience. The administration recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented.
All right, thank you. I would like to make a motion to adopt the November 7, 2024 consent agenda as presented. Do I have a second?
Madam President, I second your motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by myself and a second by Board Member Garcia. Board Member Cantu, how do you vote?
Actually, Madam President, before we move into vote, can we, is Giovanna Grijalva present? Yes. Can you stand up, please? Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that I was very impressed by your resume. And I will gladly say yes to your contract as long as there's no conflict of interest involved. There's none. No. Thank you.
Board Member Hernandez, how do you vote? Is that a yes, Board Member Cantu?
Yes.
Board Member Hernandez?
Madam President, I'd like to explain my vote.
Go ahead.
I will approve the consent agenda with the exception of the following items because I do have questions. The item number 3, item number 9, number 10, and let me specify for those that are not watching this, number 3 is the approval of the minutes of the special governing board meeting with executive session held on October 17. Item number 9, the approval to increase the annual renewal of procurement authorization for vendors specified with increased not to exceed amounts for 24-25. Number 10, approval to enter into new cooperative purchasing membership with TIPS, which is the interlocal purchasing system for the procurement of goods and services for fiscal year 24-25. The, let's see. Item number 15, approval of human resources personnel items. Number 17, approval of the executive director of curriculum and instruction job description. Number 18, approval of the executive director of special services position and job description. Item number 21, approval of the Cartwright School District administrative intern job description. Number 22, approval of deputy superintendent of human services and educational programs position. Number 23, approval of revision to district level stipends for 24-25. And with that, otherwise I vote yes.
Okay. Board Member Garcia, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Vice President Hernandez, are you still on the line?
Thank you. I vote aye as well.
Thank you. I vote aye as well, and the motion carries.
Madam President, it's discussion.
We made a motion.
We already passed.
We do it after the fact. I don't know if it's written in the script, but
no, we don't.
No,
we don't.
Discussion
the parliamentary
is before
process.
The motion. If you wanted to have discussion, you could have interrupted before the motion.
It's a motion, a second, and we don't even have to have discussion. But it's definitely supposed to be before the vote.
I'm sorry, Madam President. Could you please inform me as to why we should not? We don't need discussion.
We're not discussing.
Madam President?
I didn't say that we don't need discussion. I said that the discussion happens before the vote. If you guys wanted to have discussion, then should have interrupted the motion or asked for a discussion after I made the motion, but before Board Member Garcia seconded the motion, but we are on a vote already, so we are past that point. So
Madam
the
President.
motion carries.
Madam President, please, just for purposes of transparency, this is where we have meetings for publics, for employees, for community, to see transparency. And if Ms. Hernandez has a question for transparency purposes, it's just simple to let her speak her concerns. Because I also have concerns, but meetings go.
You had 7 days to voice those
Mrs.
concerns
Hernandez,
with the district.
I have the
It's
floor.
not your.
Please do not
It is not
interrupt
your
me.
own
Do
meeting.
not interrupt
No, I
me.
can interrupt all I want because
Christine,
I am also a
Linda,
board member, and you two ladies are
I mean,
wasting
there's a
our
motion
time
on the
right now
floor. I mean, we've
because you
already
had
passed.
7 days. We've already
Could we
approved it.
please have somebody facilitate the meeting?
So the motion already passed, right? I mean, there's a motion on the floor.
We moved. Motion already passed. She could have asked to have the items removed so that we could put them in action. She didn't do that, and right now
Madam
they're
President,
just
I'm sorry, I'm
wasting
confused.
time.
Who's facilitating the meeting?
I have every right, just like any other board member
I mean,
in the
you don't
meeting,
have the
to
floor.
express my concern.
I'm not answering these type of questions right now.
Madam President,
No,
you cannot refuse.
You're out of order, and I request that we move forward for the respect of the
there
remainder
is a
of the
motion
board.
on the floor. The motion passed, and we are moving on.
So no discussion at all. So people don't
You
have
had the
right.
opportunity to have discussion before this, so we're not doing this. On to item F.
Madam President, this is for public
You're out of
information
order.
and transparency
You're
purposes.
You're out of order.
Just
We are
saying the
moving on
statement.
to item F.
I don't understand why we cannot have discussion on all this money that's being expended before a change in transition coming in
There was a motion
January.
on the floor. The
Thank you,
motion
Madam
was
President.
passed. We are moving on.
Madam President, it's very embarrassing to have this type
You're
of discussions.
out of order. You are out of order. We are moving on. On to item F.
This is the type of meetings we have. So allow me to say that they're not the most welcoming. They have the vote. They have the 3 votes. So this is the.
We are moving on to action.
We are moving
on to action items. Thank you. Action item number 1, second reading for information and adoption regarding.
We have to complete. Did we complete the vote? Okay, so it's congratulations.
Yeah,
Okay.
the vote's complete.
So, good evening.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Madam President, governing board members, executive team, those in the audience. We would like to congratulate Philip Sang. He is our new Director of Information Technology. So if you can come on up, please. Congratulations.
Ay, pobrecito.
We would like to congratulate Giovanna Grijalva, Dr. Giovanna Grijalva. She is going to be the new Deputy Superintendent of Human Resources and Educational Programs. And we would like to congratulate any other newly hired staff members that are joining the Cartwright District. Thank you. And he'll take a picture.
And Madam President,
That's okay. You can upgrade me to a doctor.
I need to go. I also, I'm going to allow for the pictures here, but I went through those resumes, and to both of you, congratulations. I mean, quite extensive, and I want to say, where have you been all my life? Thank you. Thank you.
On to item F, action items. Second reading for information and adoption regarding Arizona School Board Association ASBA Policy Advisory 788-791, Volume 36, Number 3, dated July 2024. Dated July 2024. I would like to make a motion for approval to adopt ASBA recommended revisions for Policy Advisory 788-791, ACA sexual harassment, ACAA Title 4, right? Title 4 sex discrimination, GBK staff grievances, JII, is that I or L? I. Thank you. Student concerns, complaints, and grievances. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by myself and a second by Board Member Garcia. Board Member Gantu, how do you vote?
I want to pass.
Board Member Hernandez, how do you vote?
I have discussion. I have questions. Just a simple question. I understand that these action items are for second readings, but these are second readings for information and adoption regarding the Arizona School Board Association, which is ASBA Policy Advisory. My question is, we've hired a similar company that produces the same kind of work to us, which is Copper State, but yet we're still going to be approving the policies for ASBA. I'm confused how that's going to work. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, executive team, and those here. Right now, we actually are in partnership with both organizations, so we are still accepting board policies and board policies that are being changed or adopted.
And just for clarification, when these two companies are providing us with guidance on policy, perhaps drafting future policy that's needed, except that Arizona School Board Association has been around for, I don't know, 50, 60 years, 100 years, I don't know. Whereas this new company just recently formed, utilizing the same type of policy I saw it in the news, but just out of concern and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments.
How do you vote, Board Member Hernandez?
If it's ASBA policy, I will vote aye.
Board Member Garcia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Hernandez, how do you vote?
I vote aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Cantu, how do you vote?
Since I'm able to discuss before the vote, Madam President, can you explain why do we have two policy companies advising us on policy?
Yeah, so we have had a relationship with ASBA for quite a few years, I'm assuming. I'm not, again, I don't know how long they've been in operation, but over the past several months to, I think, almost a year, we have not really been getting services with the association. We are just looking into other options, but we have our membership and everything still with ASBA. We're still partnered with them. We're still working with them. Copper State does provide the same policy services to us, and so we're working with both organizations right now. But we saw that there's another group that is providing services. So far, they've been more available to us, and it's just been a little harder to get any information from ASBA over the past couple of months as far as the policy services. But we're just looking at multiple options as of right now. But we're still in service with ASBA.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Emma Jauregui, do you, or probably Mrs. Ferrara has an answer to my question. Do you happen to know how much do we pay to both companies, each individual?
Thank you, Board President, members of the Governing Board, executive team, and everyone in attendance. Yes, I do know it's about $18,000 for the policy portion of ASBA. The membership is separate. That's about $10,000. That's just for the membership. You can be a member of ASBA, but not be a member of the policy side. So they're together, but they're the same entity, but they're separate services that we receive from ASBA.
Yeah, and Copper State, how much do we pay for their
Copper
services?
State, we haven't paid anything. We haven't paid anything yet.
Is Copper State a charity to the districts?
There we go.
Is it Copper State a charity to the districts, or how does it work?
It's $15,000, but I believe there was a discount rate for us because we're still with ASBA as well. So I want to say it's less than 15,000, but we haven't gone through that.
15,000 a
Yes.
membership.
Mhm.
A membership.
It's membership, legal services, policy services.
And it's the people that works for Copper State. Are they? It's a expanded amount of attorneys. There are how do you say? There are. Yeah, it's like a trust that it's
It's a small group. They're looking to work with urban school districts and keeping it very local. They're not trying to broaden out. They came and did a presentation with us in June and kind of explained all of this more. I can't speak too much on who they're hiring. I mean that's Copper, so I can't speak on to who they're hiring and their as part of their legal team. But the attorney that we used in the executive session is part of Copper. From the last executive session that we had is part of Copper.
Is he licensed in Arizona?
He is licensed in Arizona. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
but I don't know. I don't know as far as who all their other legal team. I don't have an answer to that.
Oh, so you don't have an answer of the whole team.
I don't know
because there's legal and there's policy and there's
Devin Del Palacio and Nick are the people that I know of there, but I don't know of everybody else that they've hired. So
okay, thank you.
So is that your vote? Was it a yes or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. On to item 2, second reading for information and adoption regarding Arizona School Board Association ASBA Policy Advisory 792-800, Volume 36, Number 4, dated July 2024. I'd like to make a motion for approval to adopt ASBA recommended revisions for Policy Advisory 792-800, BBBA Board Member Qualifications, GCF Professional Staff Hiring, GDF Support Staff Hiring, IHA Basic Instructional Program, JFB Open Enrollment, JHD Exclusions and Exemptions from School Attendance. Do I have a second?
Madam President, I second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by myself and a second by Board Member Garcia. Board Member Cantu, how do you vote?
This is from ASBA as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Board Member Hernandez, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Board Member Garcia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez, how do you vote?
I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. On to item G, report summary of current events. Presented by Ms. Emma Howdigi.
Good evening, Madam President, Governing Board, Governing Board members, executive team, and those here in the audience. Yes, we are going to have a presentation. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Medrano because we're going to have a presentation about the District West Corridor Land Project.
Hey, Madam President, Governing Board members, Deputy Superintendent Howdigi, executive team members, and all in attendance. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Howard Steer with the Ardura Group. He is here to introduce us to the development of the I-10 West Corridor project that's going to be supporting more transit-oriented communities that allow for more walking and other forms of transit that are more environmentally friendly and community-based. As part of the planning process, the Ardura Group is engaging in community outreach to seek feedback towards a shared vision for this I-10 West Corridor project, and this is one of their initial outreach efforts to engage with our Cartwright community. So we'd like to welcome Mr. Steer, and they are working in conjunction with the City of Phoenix on this project. So we'd like to welcome and thank Mr. Steer for being here this evening to share more information about this upcoming and exciting project.
Good evening. Governing Board President, members of the board, as well as the executive team. I just want to give a special thanks to Victoria Farrar and Dr. Madrano, and especially Dr. Lawler for giving us an opportunity to share a little bit about this project, which is a project that is a 9-mile corridor in relation to light rail. So light rail has been adopted by the city of Phoenix, a corridor that will run along the I-10 freeway corridor, and that it'll eventually actually end at Desert Sky Mall. An additional project had also been approved earlier this year in terms of alignment that will be along Indian School that will connect to the existing light rail system on Central Avenue, and then also eventually connect at Desert Sky. So with that, I am trying to provide a little bit of information on what we're doing. We are the consultant that's been hired to execute a policy development program for land use. I'm trying to, here we go. This is me, but there we go. That talks about what's called transit-oriented communities. What are the benefits of the communities? How we plan these communities? How the local transit-oriented communities come into play, and then I'll provide a little bit of a timeline, our process, and then how we're hoping the Cartwright School District and the community will continue to be involved. So what are transit-oriented communities? They're essentially compact, walkable neighborhoods centered around providing equitable access to transit. Hopefully some of you, if you raise your hands, has anybody utilized the rail system? Okay, great. The rail system has been in place since 2008, and since that development has occurred, that infrastructure that has been in place, a lot of new development occurs as a result of that infrastructure. And with that comes new development opportunities, new housing. But really what we're looking to do is ensure that adjacent to the stations, there's an opportunity for safe transportation opportunities as pedestrians, as well as bicycle and other mobility devices. A well-planned transit community usually has good housing, good education, access to jobs, vital services, and then the additional benefits is to increase safety. One of the things that in our conversation with the school, with Dr. Lawler, is the safety of the roads. And one of the things that this will help improve, at least the underlying land use, is to take a look at the roadways in this area and to ensure that as there's investment with these type of programs, there's also a look at the roadways. The meeting that we had about a month ago, there was an accident at one of the schools where a student was hit in the intersection. And that's just one of the elements that we're trying to address when we go through an exercise like this with the City of Phoenix. So the primary elements to develop this plan incorporate land use, mobility, health, economic development elements, housing, and green systems. And a little bit about those. So for the land use, it's where things are, what they look like, where the buildings, the scale, the design, and the intensity. For some of these areas, as mostly through this quarter, there's a lot of single-family residential. The stations will, just because of their nature, will look for opportunities to increase densities. So really we're going to hope to talk through that in this planning process and what that would look like if that development occurs and when it occurs. I don't know if I can go backwards. I jump fast forward. Okay. Mobility is the second element, and that's just the movement of goods and services. Then the ECDEV, that's the financial prosperity of the businesses and the residents, including jobs, training, and educational opportunities. The other three elements have to do with housing, where people live, creating diverse type of housing opportunities for folks that are currently in this area and that may move into the area. And then green systems and health, those are areas that we're trying to improve the natural human environment, and then also, how to build healthy areas. There are a lot of what we reference as food deserts in this area. We want to increase good connectivity to parks, trails, and create more safe places also for cyclists. So those pictures in the background are here in the valley. And so those are developments that have occurred. These are just examples of some intensity that occurs adjacent to these light rail systems. Those two on the far right, those are actually in the bottom one is in Tempe. What we see typically is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-story type of developments, not adjacent
typically to single-family residential, but usually in higher trafficked areas like major intersections. 51st Avenue would be an example, and McDowell. So this, real quick, this is the corridor. So inside the red lines, I know that's hard to see, but that is the area that the study is occurring. And the circles in the middle there, the tiny circles are actually where the light rail stations are going to be located. And then the white dotted circles around those areas are where we are focusing our attention on the land use and trying to ensure that the land use in those areas adheres to what the community is wanting and desiring. Right now, we're in a process, it's a three-phase process where we identify what's currently existing, and then we've been actively involved in the community on trying to understand the vision for the future and asking questions like, what do you want? What is missing? And then the next phase, which I've provided a flyer that I've left to hand out here shortly, but in January, we're gonna actually have design workshops where we're working with architectures and designers to actually develop schematics and illustrations of what could be developed in these areas. Again, what happens at the beginning is it's really a filter. So we take in input and then we develop some schematics for the community to react to and respond to and confirm, is this what you want? And then in that final step is to develop an actual master plan that will submit to the Phoenix City Council for adoption for implementation once light rail is implemented. Just a quick overview, we've had some very robust outreach, some 6 hosted community workshops, and then over 5,500 individuals that we've engaged. We did actually have an online survey that garnered several hundred data points for us on those 6 planning elements. This really quick identifies what we call areas of change. The green area is areas that we want to preserve, and the orange areas are the areas that have been identified by the community of what they really want to change, and then the blue is kind of retrofit. So there's some areas in there where they feel like, oh, we like, what we have here, but we think there can be improvements, and then obviously the orange areas are opportunity areas where significant change could occur. This area has to do with displacement. So in infrastructure development, a lot of times new development occurs, and we want to ensure that we have an idea of where displacement could occur. And part of this project is to develop a toolbox of how to ensure that displacement does not occur. So what type of tools can be utilized to ensure that folks that live or want to live in this area as new development occurs, rents or increase in properties do not displace them. And so this is just one of many tools that we use to develop our policy document. And this last item, I think this is the last one, is as we went through the community outreach process, folks identified what was special and important, what were assets identified. I know it's hard to read on there, but there are quite a few areas that have been identified that folks said, hey, these are important to us. We want to make sure that there's an emphasis to develop either around or enhance the existing elements in this area. And the last item is a QR code for the workshop that I referenced that is happening in mid-January. That is actually going to be a multi-day workshop where we're working to show existing site locations and then what could occur if the infrastructure, when it comes, what type of development could occur. We are actually engaged with real estate organizations, developers, community organizations, and we're trying to ensure that there is a broad base of input during this effort. But I will be sure to share this information again once we get closer. That right now is a save the date. The actual times and locations will be provided late December, early January. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions if you have any for me.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
Yes. Madam President, Ms. Harigi, executive team, those in the audience and those watching, if you could go back that one clip, I think the one prior to the last one, there were the orange
displacement.
Yeah. What kind? It's too small, but what kind of places are those that the community or your feedback is asking that they want to keep them and to enhance, or what are they?
So usually what occurs is that you're looking at, like I referenced, streets, roadways. So in some cases, what you're looking for is to slow down traffic on certain roads. So there would be reference to ensure that whatever is developed in those areas, that whatever the policy communicates, like it could say you must incorporate, we call them hawk signals, so you can cross mid-block, where some folks have a natural propensity to cross because it's too far to go to the next signal. That would be part of the plan to ensure that there are elements in there that literally stipulations that communicate the types of investment that need to accompany new development that occurs.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. I didn't know what they were.
Sure.
If there were maybe like not organizations, but it's like either a business or something that was being offered that they would want to keep.
Great.
But they're more transportation related.
That's a great question. There is a displacement resource guide as well that talks about different services as well for housing, to maintain your community. I have a whole list of resources that we've developed that we'll share with the community as these types of infrastructure programs really become real in the area.
Thank you for that, and I'm interested in that. We lack. We just haven't kept up with the growth of the rest with the city of Phoenix, and so we're lacking that infrastructure of social services and other needs to help our communities.
No, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Sorry. Yes, Madam President. Yes, Mr.
Steer.
There's one of your pictures there, from the plan, the orange areas. It says that if the community wants to improve those areas, they have the right to throw their feedback in there, so they can make changes according to the will of the community. Have you started forums or roundtable of community members that are wants to get involved in what they want to see on those areas?
Yeah. So great question. So we've hosted what we call just visioning workshops, and then we've also had a second round of what we call community stakeholder and decision makers. And so we've had like 2 sets of meetings, and I think there is a slide back there that kind of communicates what we've done. And those are the initial efforts to just create the vision based on those 6 planning elements. So we provide information at those meetings of what the existing conditions are. And if you could reimagine your area or places that you would like to see improvement, what would that look like? So now we've collected much of that data or that information, and now we're actually going to show in our next phase, that January workshop, we're going to show illustrations, renderings, photo simulations to show like this is what could occur. What do you think? Are we hitting what you've communicated to us in our outreach effort, or do we need to pivot and make some changes to some of these designs? So the example would be if we're next to Desert Sky Mall, there's already pretty significant height, I think 3 to 5 story new development occurring there. That may not fit at 31st Ave in McDowell or 51st. There's just nothing there that visually would maybe as inviting as what height in terms of buildings and structures are at 79th Ave. So those are the types of things that we'll share at this next effort, and we want to hear and receive feedback, because at that point we'll take that input and then we'll create this final document that will go to the City Council for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. And I also would like to know, how is it that you recruit members of the community to give you some feedback on whatever they have in mind?
It's a great question. So this is one way. So for giving presentations to various boards and committees, but also we're working very closely with various neighborhood services with the city of Phoenix. There are different organizations in the West Valley that we've partnered with to get the word out. It's challenging, and I will share this. One of the challenging issues has been a language barrier. We've actually conducted 4 different meetings completely in Spanish, and the reason why is because the communities and locations that we've gone to, all individuals speak Spanish only. And so that has been helpful because that community historically has communicated to us, at least they said, we've always had translation. It's been presented in English and it's now being done completely in Spanish. And the city staff, I think there was a level of discomfort because it's not typical that there is not any level of translation occurring. But we just take the notations and that gives us a level of rapport to build trust with the community. And now we're seeing more folks participate in those efforts.
Thank you. Thank you. My next question is, at what point you will come back and give us the next presentation?
Great question. I'm under the impression that once we get to the design workshop, which I referenced is in January 15th to the 25th, we would be able to provide an update as to our next steps for the adoption of the policy, and it would probably be appropriate in February or March.
Okay. And I would like to see videos of the meetings so you can share with the board the amount of people that is collaborating in this project as well.
We're happy to provide. I don't know if we have a lot of video, but we have some video, but we definitely have a lot of pictures.
The meetings happen, I mean, just have something that tell us there are community out there are attending these meetings that are important to their community.
Yeah, we'll make sure to provide that as well.
Thank you very much.
Board Member Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President, fellow board members, executive team, Ms. Emma Haragi, everyone in attendance. So as you were sharing about the community feedback, what came to mind is that reaching out to the local school districts and being able to convey via flyer or probably that way, just extending that information through them, via them, you would probably gain a lot more feedback. That's a direct service as well as direct communication with the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member or Vice President Hernandez, did you have any questions?
No, thank you. They've been asked.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I do have a quick question. Sorry if I missed it, but do we know, we have a timeline of when this project would actually take place?
So the work has been going on for just a little over a year. So we started implementation for the initial efforts began in December of last year. And so we've been involved with the community, executing various workshops, attending a lot of events to ascertain some input. We will be moving towards the finish after the January 15th workshop. Mm-hmm. The actual adoption of the draft policy will occur in March and April with the Phoenix City Council, only as a draft document. Phoenix Planning Department will then take a look at the existing draft and see if they need to make any significant changes before final adoption of the plan, which would happen in summer of 25.
Got it. And then so summer of 25, a project possibly start then?
Well, it's only a policy plan. It's a policy document. Mm-hmm. The project itself, I couldn't give you that information. Valley Metro would probably, in the City of Phoenix Public Transit, would need to provide the actual dates for when design would occur. As many of you know, the Prop 479 was passed successfully. Yep. Those funds, some of those funds would be dedicated to some elements of development of mass transit or high capacity transit, which would be part of this project.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for your presentation. We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, executive team, and those here. I would like to take a moment to extend a congratulations to Mark T. Atkinson Middle School and Gifted Academy for the hard work and dedication you have done to earn a prestigious National Blue Ribbon School recognition. So let's give Atkinson a big round of applause. They are one of the 356 schools in the nation and one of 5 schools from Arizona to be recognized for the 2024 National Blue Ribbon Exemplary High Performing Schools and Exemplary Achievement Gap Closing Schools. As a result of this significant achievement, Dr. Aguilar Lawler and Principal Weiss were not able to participate here this evening at our board meeting as they are attending the school success at the award ceremony held in DC on November 7th and 8th. Congratulations again to all involved in this achievement. This year, Estrella applied to be an official chapter of the National Junior Honor Society. Yesterday, 12 scholars were celebrated in the chapter. These scholars were nominated by teachers and had to complete an application to be part of the society. The National Junior Honor Society recognizes students who demonstrate excellence in 5 areas known as the 5 pillars of National Junior Honor Society. Scholarship, students are committed to learning and spending time reading and studying. Service, students voluntarily contribute to the school or community without compensation. Leadership, students are resourceful, good problem solvers, and idea contributors. Character, students are cooperative, honest, reliable, courteous, concerned, and respectful of others. Citizenship, students demonstrate mature participation and responsibility in activities such as school-sponsored clubs and activities. The Tempe Festival of Arts takes, I'm sorry, I have a lot of things to share this evening. The Tempe Festival of Arts takes place on December 6th through 8th, Friday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5:30 and Sunday from 10 to 4:30. Young artists from Raul H. Castro Middle School Academy of Fine Arts will have their artwork displayed at the Tempe Festival. Congratulations to the following artists: Shania Gibson, The Angel Project; Eurydice Gonzalez, Sea Life; Sofia Bati, Sunny Sedona Morning; Sasha Lizarraga Ruiz, Landscape; Miranda Morales, Dawn by the Beach; Natalie Rangel, The Illusion of Reality; Jarissa Perez Alvarez, Beauty and the Beast; Mia Torres, Vegas; Maria Mendez Suarez, Twilight; and Lachey Samuels, A Summer Morning. Thank you to everyone, and this concludes my updates.
All right, thank you. Do we have another one? Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Here you go. All right. On to, sorry, I lost my spot there. On to item H, other information discussion items. Number 1, November art displays. All right, our first display is by Palm Lane Elementary. Art teacher is Andrew Tucker. Title of the projects, Virtual Stained Glass and Japanese, and I'm so sorry for mispronouncing this, kanji, collage landscapes. Grade levels, 5th and 6th grades. Schools Palm Lane. Principal Scott Knight. And the description. For our virtual stained glass, our eldest scholars examine authentic examples of modern homes to Gothic cathedrals and reproduce the effects in soft chalk pastel and tacky glue. Sorry. The leaded lines that hold pieces of glass together in the actual windows were effectively represented in the heavy glue lines, while the saturated color and diffused light these windows boosts were faithfully created through the blending of soft pastels between glue lines. Our Japanese kanji collage landscapes were inspired by nature-based Japanese kanji, simple characters representing a word, season, or concept. Once selected by a scholar, it becomes the theme of his or her collage landscape. Depth was achieved through the use of background, middle ground, and foreground. Once this was achieved, the inspiring kanji was affixed to another corner of the landscape. Scholars also went on to compose a haiku based on their chosen kanji. I think these are the photos over here. I'm not sure actually. Yes, over here. Sorry, it's a little hard to see, and then my pictures here had to pick out which ones they were. All right. Our second display is our art teacher is Allison Peng. Title of project: Story of an Owl, OP Art Flags, Radial Printmaking. Grade levels for Story of an Owl is 2 through 3, OP Art Flags 4 through 5, and Radial Printmaking is 6th. School is Peralta, Principal Christine Ramirez. Description: 6th grade students learned about printmaking and created their own print using styrofoam and pen. The students scratched into the styrofoam to carve their design, then colored the styrofoam with marker, and then flipped and transferred their styrofoam to stamp into paper. Once they had 4 good prints, students cut their prints to make a circle, which creates a radial design. The final step was for them to cut construction paper to add to their paper to create their own unique picture. 4th and 5th graders learned about OP art. They then used shaded techniques we learned with a pencil to create the first layer of shading. Then they used red and blue chalk pastels for the stripes and corner box to create a second layer of shading. Doing these techniques created the optical illusion where it looks like a flag is waving. 2nd and 3rd grade learned how to draw an owl and then use detail in the background to create their own unique story. They then practiced their watercolor techniques to finish their work. And I believe that is on that side. All right. For our third display, art teacher Miss Freeman. Title of projects: Found Object Sculpture. Grade levels 3rd and 7th and 8th. School is Glenelg Downs. Principal Miss Nash. Description: students studied the artist Louise Nevelson. Nevelson is known for her 3D microchromatic sculptures. They are made of many pieces and can be freestanding or appear to be box-like. They learned that she used wood scrapes to create her art. This was due to the fact that her dad was a woodworker, thus they were available to her. In the same manner, we use what is available to us in the art room. You will see an assortment of objects. We use tag board from food and crayon boxes, toilet paper and paper towel rolls, different shaped pastas and paper plates, thank you Science Center, and chopsticks. Since Nevelson always painted her sculptures one color and predominantly black, so did we. And those are displayed outside. Thank you to all of our art displays for the month of November. On to item 2, information, proposed transition from Board Docs platform to Diligent, presented by Ms. Emma Howdigi.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, and executive team, and those here in the audience. Yes, we currently use Board Docs as our platform for all of our board meetings and other meetings. And Diligent, the global company that supports Board Docs, unfortunately, the current and original platform is being phased out, which is why we've had a lot of little glitches. Sometimes in the morning, the system is not working correctly. And specifically what's happening is their expired coding foundation. Therefore, Diligent Communities, they're offering an updated version of Board Docs with new features and enhanced capabilities. So in order for us to keep on pace with the cutting edge technology, it is becoming very clear that we need to move over to the upgraded platform. So the one we're currently using is no longer going to be supported for technical support. And we wanted to give everyone here a heads up that that change is coming. And we're thinking that we want to transition over when we have a new board members, because we don't want to start and then have to change in the middle of the year. So we are going to be bringing in the company to do a presentation for the board so we can start receiving training on the new platform. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Ms. Hardigy. My question is, so board docs will update to Diligent.
Diligent owns Board Docs, and they're going to upgrade to a different platform owned by Diligent, because Diligent purchased Board Docs and it's no longer going to be supported.
Oh, okay, so we're not going to have two companies.
It'll be the same company, but a different platform.
I'm sorry if I ask questions.
No,
here
that's okay, because I had to ask a lot of questions too to
Yeah.
understand.
And I want to make sure that this is a must-to-do situation, because
Yes.
non-existent support docs, but I really don't want to see two companies servicing the district, because we have two superintendents, we have two policy companies, and I wanted to make sure that this is only
I
one.
understand. No, it's going to be the same company, but the newer platform, because they're no longer going to service the old one. So we're going to start seeing glitches. And then when we call the company, they're not really going to be able to help us because the coding is outdated. And so this is one of those things that we have to do. We could probably wait until next year, but we'll continue to have issues with Board Docs. So we just want to move over as soon as we can train the board so that we can start using the new platform. But it is the same company.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam President, Ms. Harigi, executive team, those in the audience and those watching. I had a chance to review that diligence, and I understood it was part of Board Docs, and I'm glad it's transitioning, but it did look more extensive, but I like the descriptors. But I hope that I'm going to request that one of the items be not only that during a board retreat taking place before our meeting, so that we can get to know each other. But there's a few things that we need to review. I'll wait for the recommendations on those, but looking forward to a training session regarding utilizing that new platform moving forward, because it is to our detriment when either due to glitches or not all board members have access to the agenda when we had it. I'm going to say we had it, at least I got to be honest. So for the last two meetings, there's been an effort to inform us and provide us the information with a week in advance versus the 24-hour in advance. That does not allow us to prepare because of our work schedule, at least myself, to prepare in time with questions to come prepared to a meeting. That's why and plus my philosophy, we're here to serve our community. And if there's an item at the agenda, especially in consent agenda, those are not items that are listed or explained to the greater public. So this is the opportunity to have a discussion before we go into a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to say that one of the ideas that was brought up by Linda and Christine was that we do have a special board meeting before, so we can all learn how to get on there before we have a meeting before we transition over. So thank you for your ideas.
The retreat, yeah.
Do we have any other questions or comments from the board?
Madam President?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, would it be a special meeting immediately before the first meeting that you're implementing Diligent, or would it be prior to that meeting so that they could access the board doc?
Thank you.
Or Diligent.
Thank you for your question. So we are still in the planning phases of that because we want to make sure they come out and do a presentation, but we wanted to kind of present it so you guys can start thinking about it, because we would discuss with the board if they want to move over when the new board is here or later on. So we still need to have those conversations.
Okay. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
All right. On to item 3, request for future agenda items as information discussion at a future governing board meeting. Do we have any requests from the board?
Yes.
Madam President, I do have a.
Board Member Hernandez.
I'll wait for Lady.
Board Member Hernandez, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President, Ms. Haragi, those in the audience and those watching. There's a couple of things that I wanted to recommend moving forward with the retreat or orientation, because that we're going to be working with new members. A review of parliamentary procedures, an understanding of roles, board superintendent relationship, all those things that we get at the front either in form of, I would prefer a retreat, honestly, because it allows for more personal interaction. I'm sorry. The Robert's rules, parliamentary procedures, and we do have a manual and book, but it's kind of been convoluted, and I need clarification because the ones that I know, and there's always updates, right? But what do I know? But so that we all are on the same page moving forward, and it would enable us to have a better start. And item number 3, this could take place at the retreat as well, but a study session regarding the new positions, because there are, as I mentioned, and I'm not going to go over them, but there's at least 10 different positions or actions that were included in the consent agenda, that if I would have had the time, I would have shared some great feedback regarding some of those resumes that we saw. But more specifically, I think this is it is frustrating, I think, when we have discussions and we're the only place that we have any power as a board. Individual board members don't have any power, right? We have it only when we convene at this meeting and we discuss, ask questions, so that it's not only for us to be better informed or know what we're doing, but it's an opportunity for the audience to understand. Oh, wow, I didn't know that was involved with that decision. Or, there's millions of dollars being spent. This is our taxpayers' money. How we're utilizing it, and if we're being effective. But in then learning and listening to our conversations,
Hernandez,
it's an
do you
opportunity
have a request?
for them to get an
Because
idea
you would make
of
the
our point of
request and we would
perspectives.
discuss this part at the actual meeting where it's on the agenda.
I didn't hear. I was still talking.
Yes. Do you have the request? Because we're just making the request, then we put it on the future agenda, and then we have this long discussion so we can all go back and forth and discuss it.
I'm sorry. I decided to answer because somebody mentioned. I clarified and I went on. 3 items.
Is that all of your requests?
Yeah, 3 items. Yeah. Let me make sure I have them. So the board retreat, parliamentary procedures, new members, rules of understanding, board superintendent relationships, the new positions, and the training for the diligence.
Vice President Hernandez, you had a request?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to request for a future agenda item that we discuss the potential conflict of interest should the election results become complete. We have a potential conflict of interest of 2 governing board members that reside in the same household. And so I just wanted to have that addressed and have an opportunity for the governing board to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam President, fellow board members, executive team, those in the audience, my daughter does not reside with me. She is going to school and she lives on her own, and she has done so for more than a year. So that is erroneous information. I don't know where you're getting that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Okay. Is there any other?
Madam President, I do have 3 requests as well.
Go ahead, Board Member Cantu.
Number 1, I would like to Ms. Emma Hardigi and now with her great help here, an organizational chart all administrative positions, including main responsibilities. So all the boards and the public know who can they direct their questions, who is where, what positions they're carrying. That's number one. Number two, I would like to see a strategic plan that focus over the next 5 years. How are we planning on getting there? And number three, since we were not part of the last meeting where you put the vision together, I want to know, as a district, what is our vision?
I'm sorry, are there the little table toppers that have our mission, vision, and goals on it?
Board
I could be
Member
mistaken.
Vice President Hernandez, I don't think we actually do have those here because we have new screens on our seats. So I don't know. I don't have one over here. Maybe down over there, but I haven't seen them on the dais in a while. So I'm
Okay,
going to say the
so I
answer to
guess
that
just
is no.
clarify, does she just want a copy of that? I just want to clarify the request for everyone so we can fulfill the request
I think what
and
she's
know how long
asking
this
is
is actually
if you
take.
want a copy of what the current vision statement and all of that is, or what the new version or the new vision and everything is.
Madam President, Ms. Hadagi, all in the audience, perhaps at the retreat we can have that information so we are all in the same page, and including the new board members to have that information, which is essential. In order to move forward, we need everybody to move on the same direction, and we have in mind what is our district, what is our administrative, our superintendent's vision of the district. That'll be helpful.
That is a great idea. I really just wish that you would have had it when any other new board member came on board, but keep that momentum.
Madam President, Ms. Harigi, executive team, those in the audience and those watching, as we move forward, putting together, I mean, we always have board retreats. We stopped having them, by the way, at this district, but the same as the strategic plan that we didn't put together until 5 years later, maybe 5, 6. And then we put it together in over a course of 2 to 3 months. I am glad to see that we're going to have quite qualified staff moving in that spends a year in that feedback process development, because that is what is an ongoing, growing strategic plan. But a review of that strategic plan, because that highlights and it shares with us, it'll provide the board member with a roadmap so that they can, prepare to the next meetings as we're listening to all these policies that we're revising, how to incorporate those policies in terms into how we make things happen in that strategic plan. Those are our roles. Thank you.
Is there any other requests for future agenda items?
I just have, I made those three. I think you write it down, Ms. Hadagi. And one more that it's been, I think it had impacted the entire country, but the great conceit of our vice president to the new president of the United States. I think she maintained herself with her ethics, and she maintained herself as admirable behavior, attitude, positive attitude, trying to push a country. It's not an easy job. And for those that are here present, moving a district forward is not an overnight thing. I've been here 22 years.
Board Member Cantu, what is your request?
my request was I said I gave him to Ms. Howdy.
So you already made your request.
I already make my request.
Okay, so then
Thank
we're
you.
moving on.
Thank you.
No, this isn't the time for you to make comments about things that are not pertain to the agenda. So on to item I, announcements of future meeting date and other routine information concerning the governing board. The next regular governing board meeting will be held on December 5th, 2024 at 5 p.m. at the Cartwright School District Boardroom. On to item J, adjournment. I would like to make a motion to adjourn the November 7th, 2024 governing board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by myself and a second by Board Member Garcia. Board Member Cantu, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Board Member Hernandez, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Board Member Garcia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Hernandez, how do you vote?
I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. I vote aye as well. And the motion carries. We are now adjourned at 6:45 p.m. Thank you.
Be safe getting home, everyone.